Picking every NBA team's best uniform, 90s maximalism, iconic standards, city editions among top looks that we're imagining an aesthetically perfect NBA in which every team always looks its best recently. We ranked every NBA uniform going into the 2025-26 season, and something became clear as that project progressed. Very few teams are actually wearing their best uniforms anymore. Ask a fan to pick their favorite jersey for their favorite team and it's almost always going to be a throwback. Modern rebrands are hit or miss at best. Design in the NBA has taken a significant step back in the 21st century. This has been felt acutely with the league's logos, which have become increasingly homogeneous, but it's also impacting uniforms as well. Modern minimalism is depriving the sport of character. Jerseys are often just a single word against a monochromatic background with few noticeable design backgrounds. Teams no longer feel distinct. In fact, with the constant wave of revamps and the annual city and statement editions, it's not uncommon for fans to complain about turning on a game and not immediately knowing who's playing. Some of this is driven by understandable motives. The NBA releases new jerseys every year because they want fans to buy new jerseys every year. New logos are circular because that is the standard shape for social media profile pictures. But there are real, if intangible, effects to this loss of visual identity for teams. More and more fans grow up rooting for individual players rather than teams. There are a lot of reasons for that, but one of them is probably the reality that there is just less and less with each passing year that makes a team stand out visually. It's hard to feel connected to a team that wears 5 different jerseys during a season and then swaps out 3 of them a year later. So we're going to try to fix this problem by imagining a different sort of NBA, an aesthetically perfect version of the league we're all watching. In this world, teams are allowed to wear only a single uniform from now until the end of time. When that uniform clashes with an opponent's, the only allowable alternative will be the white version of that same look. The goal of this project is simple. If each team was only allowed to pick one jersey it has ever worn to wear for all of its games moving forward, which one would it pick? We'll begin the process of answering that question, but first, here are the criteria we used in the 2025-26 uniform rankings, as those will guide us with this project as well. Color scheme. Is a team mixing colors that actually work well together? Is it using too many or too few colors? Theming. Does a uniform just say a word, or does it actively invoke the feeling of the team's name? Is the design connected to the team's home city? Essentially, does it feel as though the team's name and city were actually relevant components of the design process, or could these uniforms have been slapped together for any old team? Uniqueness. Does the uniform have some design factor that is either rare across the league, or at least rarely executed well? History. The Celtics have relatively simple uniforms. They've won 18 championships wearing them. We love them because they're iconic, not because they represent peak design. A team's history in its uniforms matter. Coolness. This is subjective. You know it when you see it. Is a jersey cool or not? And so, with all of that in mind, let's perfect the NBA's aesthetic experience. Virtually every Celtics jersey looks the same, so we're mostly picking knits here. We're looking for a more modern iteration, though, because the Celtics didn't start wearing a clover on their belt line until 1998, which is a nice little addition. However, we're sticking with the 1998 to 2014 incarnation because both jerseys say Celtics instead of Boston. The green and white color scheme more closely associates with the team name than the city name, so that feels slightly more appropriate. You can't really go wrong with any baseline Celtics jersey, but by a hair, these are the best of them. The Raptors more or less got it right the first time. The 1997 update to their original look was subtle, but helpful, removing the unnecessary black background to the text. Otherwise, these are perfectly goofy. The giant dinosaur makes a statement, and the jagged text evokes a prehistoric feel. My favorite little detail. The Raptor is itself wearing a jersey, but it just has the letter R on the chest. The Raptors have never worn such a jersey. What team is he playing for? The Iverson-era jerseys are gorgeous and would be missed as a possible alternate choice, but come on, a team named the Philadelphia 76ers needs to wear red, white, and blue. It largely has, and this is the best version of that jersey. The star detailing on the side is a necessary flair. The darker blue is not only more accurate than its modern counterpart, but more accurate to the flag as well. Once again, we prefer a team name on the chest to a city name, as the modern jerseys say Filer instead of Sixers, and as readers of our modern uniform rankings know, I loathe half words on jerseys. Any of the old red, white, and blue jerseys would have felt wrong in a world in which the 76ers are wearing those same colors less than 100 miles away. This was therefore an easy choice. The Biggie-inspired trim gives a team that relocated to Brooklyn fairly recently some badly needed local flair, and it contrasts perfectly with the black and white of the standard Nets jersey. There's a reason the Nets are bringing these back this season, as is the case with the Celtics. There isn't too much variation where the Knicks are concerned. Almost all of their jerseys are relatively simple and come in blue and orange. The late 90s edition wins on a few minor details. The V-neck fits a New York team better than a crew neck does. Those sharper edges feel more appropriate for the big city. The slight slant in the side detailing is also a rarity in NBA design, where straight lines are the norm. You can't really go wrong with a Knicks jersey, but these are their best. This is the perfect NBA jersey. Every inch of the space, even the negative space, is maximized. The giant hawk makes it clear what team this is, but it's also on theme as a basketball jersey. Wingspan is one of the most important physical traits in basketball, and here we have a hawk literally spreading its wings as a defender spreads his arms. The number, tucked away on the upper chest, is visible without dominating the entire jersey. The transition from black on the top to red on the bottom is seamless. Even the little details like the claw serving as the space in the A in Hawks are flawless. It's a travesty that these aren't still in use. Their standard is perhaps more fitting for a team called the Heat, but no jersey in the NBA better captures the local vibe than Miami's Vice editions. They've tried several versions of it, but the predominantly blue and pink editions are just a bit too loud for an everyday uniform. The black base works perfectly, sending the message without beating you over the head with it. The Heat are wisely bringing these back as their city editions this season after the ridiculous ransom note 2022-23 jerseys and the Heat culture abominations of the past 2 years. This was probably the hardest decision on the entire list. The 1998 revamp tries something fairly unique in basketball jerseys by filling the blank space with a starry background, and it works really well. The black pinstripes of their first 5 seasons are probably the most